Good morning. My name's Joel Martin, head coach of the Kalamazoo Wings. Today, I just want to talk to you about crafting core values with your team. I think that as coaches, we'd all agree on the importance of leadership and quality people and culture and core values and the impact they can have on our teams. Um, and I heard a coach one time talk about other coaches and just how essentially we're all salesmen and we're always selling. So, if you're a coach that's somewhere where you need to recruit your players, you're selling your community, your organization, selling yourself. We're always selling tactics, opportunity, all these different things. And sometimes we sell culture, and that's okay. And I've been a part of that as well. And that can be successful. A couple of years ago here in Kalamazoo, we decided to involve our team in creating our culture and our core values. And we found that to be beneficial. So today I just want to talk about, the why. We like that, the how, and then how that translated to our group. So starting off, just with the why, gives you an opportunity to learn your players, learn the learners on your team, what's important to them and why. And then I think that anytime you get a group of, individuals together, leaders emerge from that. So it also gives you an opportunity to learn who the leaders are in your group. Also, accountability. When the players decide what they want to be about as a group and what their standard is going to be, then it becomes a lot easier to hold them accountable. This is what you guys chose, this is your standard, and you're not living up to that. So that's another part that we really like. And then lastly, we all think different. As much as, we'd like to think that we don't as coaches and we totally understand what our players want and are thinking. We don't. And then also our players think individually as well. And we'll touch on this moving forward a little bit here as well. So I just want to get into the how, okay? And this is a exercise that I learned from one of my mentors, Tim Lester. Him and Ryan Blank, who owns a company called Deviate with his wife Amanda. And Ryan's company has this deck of cards that has these 50 different core values on them. So this is what we used with our team. I think that if you were trying to do this on your own, you could come up with your own values that you wanted your team to work through. You could have every player, contribute, a value or two or three, and kind of work your way down from there. So this is what we used. And with this deck of cards, it comes with these three cards in the deck. Very important to me, and not important to me. Okay. So the way we did it with our group, we split our group into two different rooms, all right, staff included. And we started going through our core values, right? And the goal of the exercise is start working it down to a little bit more of a manageable number. And with our group, if one guy said that a core value was very important to them, then it went in the very important to me pile. And it's just an important part of the process where, again, you get an opportunity to learn your learners and what's important to them and why. So once we ripped through the deck one time, this is kind of what it looked like for our group, right? So, you have romance sitting at the top of the very important to me pile, right? So that's very important to somebody, and that's great, right? Because it gives you an opportunity to learn, a player's support system. Maybe they have a girlfriend at home or a wife at home. So allowing guys to talk about these different things and getting to know them is super important. So once we rip through, we end up having 30 different very important values, right? Which is great, but it's not a manageable number for our group. So we got rid of the important to me pile, the not important to me pile, and started working down from the very important to me pile and working from 30. And then we tell our group, you got to get this number down to 20, 15. And once both groups were at 10, we combined our groups at that point. And we thought at that point we'd have about 12 different core values. We thought that, a certain 8 would be in there with both groups, and they'd have maybe 2 that were different. But this kind of goes back to we all think differently. We ended up with 18 different core values. So the 2 rooms only had 2 that were the same. So that shocked us a little bit as coaches, but it shows the importance again, and how differently that we think. So now we combine our groups and got to work this number of 18 down to a manageable number, which, talking with Ryan, less than 3, you're not doing enough as a team, and more than 5, then your focus is too broad. So you got to narrow it down a little bit. So for us, we chose to go with 3 core values. Okay. And once we got our room together and worked it down, we ended up with these 3: growth, grit, and family. So now that's great. But now what does that mean, right? How do we talked about accountability. How do we hold our group accountable now, right? So now we have to define these 3 core values for our group. And one of the questions that we used, and I think it's a powerful question that I learned, from Ryan and Tim, was if a blind person came into our locker room or spent a day around our team, what would they hear, that says that we're growing or we're a family? If a deaf person came into our locker room or spent time around our team, what would they see that says that we're a gritty team or says that we're a family? So that allows them, I think, to kind of think through that process a little bit, and then they start to come up with these points. So, they'd see self-improvement on and off the ice, guys getting out early, staying out late. You'd hear weights going in the weight room. We're active in our community, right? We want to grow the game in our community. We want to grow the K-Wings brand. We're a team that only focuses on things we could control. Grit, consistent competing games and practice. So something I think that's super easy to hold your team accountable to, right? If they're not competing, we wear teams down with our tenacity, and then we block shots. We welcome playing through bumps and bruises, right? And then family, laughter and positivity are commonplace in our locker room. We have each other's backs on and off the ice. I think on the ice, that's really easy to define. I think off the ice, helping teammates make good choices away from the rink, making sure a teammate gets home safely, if you're having a night out on the town. And then, lastly, we celebrate teammates' victories. So these are just a few examples of some of the points they came up with. And I won't get into each one of these roadmaps here, but it allowed us to start creating a roadmap for each core value. So this is what they look like. So here's growth, a little supporting statement with the definition of the word, and then a paragraph, of what growth is to our group. And then at the bottom, where growing win. And now here's all our players' points, right? We do the extra work, right? In the weight room, on the ice, commit to self-improvement, all these things. Grit, how our grit is evident. All right. And then family, we're practicing and experiencing family. And I like on the bottom of this one, just a couple of their points, because you'll see this on the last slide, is we celebrate each other's victories, and smiles and hugs are everywhere. All right. So that's the roadmap we use for our team. That's what we throw up in our locker room, and that allows them to understand, what's expected of them, and allows them to hold themselves accountable and us to hold them accountable as well. But how did this translate to our group? So here's a few examples. So first off, just want to touch on growth. So this is one of our defensemen, Colin Sockman. And Colin's rookie year was cut short due to an injury, required surgery, only ended up playing about 20 games. So he had a long summer of rehab in order to get back. And Colin ended up coming back in year 2, winning our Defensive Player of the Year award. All right. And then also our Community Service Award. So when I think about, the grit side, the work he had to do to rehab back from an injury, think about the growth of being involved in our community and the things that our players talked about. Colin encompassed all of those things. And in year two, he was a part of our leadership group. In year three, he was an assistant captain for us, and now in year four, he's our captain of our hockey club. So I heard Matt McIlvain do a presentation once, and he talked about a better me is a better we. And I think this is just a great example of that and growth with our club. Grit. Here's a couple text messages that I received after a couple of our games. Your guys played their butt off. It was fun to watch them win a lot of the little battles in the game, plain hustle. So, win a lot of little battles. To me, that screams grit, right? And then up top there, I thought your guys worked their tails off. I think you got a lot of buy-in from your team. And when I think about that text message, I'm like, that's not us getting the buy-in from our team. That's our team buying into their own core values and what they want to be about. So those are great, and sometimes we'll share those with our team. This is some of the video that we might show to promote grit with our club, and I know a lot of coaches show similar things. Maybe, for us, it's grit plays. Maybe for you, it's winning hockey, whatever you want to call those. But here's a couple examples, some grit plays for us. So in white here, number 3 in the corner, falls down for us, gets up, second effort, puts his guy in the wall, allows us to win the puck, get out of our zone, right? We're on a change. We got a one-man forecheck here, but a gritty Hunt doesn't quit on the puck. We place a puck, smaller forward for us, willing to be first on a puck. Now we're playing in the O zone, right? And then, eating pucks, right? Blocking shots. Our group would do this, block shots with their faces. And yeah, it's really impressive to watch. And this is grit, and having a couple teammates coming over and asking you if you're all right, and seeing this kid get up and skate it off. That's about as gritty as it gets there. And then finally, family. So last year we had a female goaltender try out with our hockey club, Mariah Fujimagari. And so she ended up playing an exhibition for us. And so this is our second exhibition game. I think it's about day 6 at camp. All right. And we're in overtime here. We end up getting an odd man rush and end up getting the win here. And, when you think about the family slide and the roadmap and celebrating each other's victories here, that's exactly what these guys are doing right away. It also said smiles and hugs are everywhere. And this looks like a group that's been together for a while. And like I said, I think this is probably day 6 of camp for us. But you can see everybody celebrating Mariah's victory there. She ends up with 14 saves on the night, 5 in overtime for us. First female goaltender in the ECHL in over 2 decades. And yeah, just seeing this little bit of family here and these smiles and hugs, I think we felt like we had something special, with our group at this point. So lastly here, I think that a lot of times when people present on culture and different things with their hockey clubs, it comes after really successful seasons, and we did this after year one or before year one when I became the head coach here in Kalamazoo, and we didn't have a successful season. We weren't a playoff team, but we really credit, involving our players and being a part of building our culture to the success of keeping our room together, through a tough season. And in year 2, we end up improving by, 16 points on the year, becoming a playoff team. And again, we attribute that success to the same thing, involving our players and being a part of our culture. And it just shows some of the growth from our group as well. So I hope that you pick something up from this. And if you ever want to reach out and talk hockey or talk culture, please don't be afraid to do so. Thanks a lot.